Welcome to PK Woodworking, and I'm outside in front of my house today. So there's a good reason because I'm taking some time off next couple of weeks, and something pretty amazing happened yesterday. One of my friends, shout out Mr. Pekin, turned me on to an amazing deal on Facebook Marketplace, and so let me show you what we got here. So as you may be able to see here, we've got a lot of wood here. So I got some pics. I'll show some pics of what it is, but I've got, I think, somewhere around 1,200 board feet total here, and bunch of really nice white oak, 5/4, a little bit of 6/4, and some 4/4, and then I got a ton of 4/4 mahogany, and some 6/4 mahogany along with it, and then a decent amount of couple hundred board feet of walnut, but most of it's like offcut kind of stuff. So I need to figure out a way to where to put this, and I've got a place. Let me show you. Like, this is it. So I've got a 10 by 10 shed out here that's for my wood, and you may have been thinking all along, like, hey, this guy's got a cool shop, but where does he keep all the wood? Well, this is where I keep the wood, and I've always had a plan that at some point in time I needed to have racking in here and stuff to be able to store the wood. I have one of those Triton racks over here, which is somewhat like not effective and terrible, etc., that at this point I'm probably going to keep. But then on this side, I've always had my sheet goods here, but I need to have a rack to put that wood somewhere else. The problem is that's 4,000 pounds of wood. There is no way that the structure of this shed will support 4,000 pounds hanging off of the walls. So I need to come up with something different. I've already looked into some metal racking, etc. We'll see what that looks like cost-wise. But what I need to do in the meantime is I need to clear out all of the junky wood that's in here that I never will ever use and move on from it. So I really can't give you a good shot of it just because of how small it is in here, but I'll try. So hold on a second. So we're inside now, and you can see, like, this is all the junk that people just hold on to for no reason. Random pieces of molding and whatever that I usually purge, but during this whole shop stuff, this stuff is hung around forever, and it just all needs to go. So I've got my trash can out here, and we're going to chop this stuff up, and we're going to send it to the landfill. I don't have anybody that would buy this stuff to do anything else with. And I do have some moldings in here that are for, like, the house inside. We have some engineered floors, etc. So I'm going to take that and put that back inside the garage. But then, we'll just kind of get this going and see where it goes to. Let's see how this goes. Okay. I think a lot of that stuff needs to come into the house. All right, let's kill this. I'm gonna take some stuff into the house. All right, let's chop all this up. cut this stuff up into smaller pieces, which ought to be fun. So this is the wall where the rack will go. That's the cantilevered rack. And again, it's like got a 10-inch beam on it to support all the weight that's going to be on it. So it's definitely going to push this farther out into the room. And then I'm going to have to put all the sheet goods now on the side where I just showed you the rack before. And then I'm going to build a rack on the back wall that's behind the camera to support the narrower pieces of wood. And I'll mount those, a little closer together so that I can actually have some of the smaller, larger 8/4 cutoffs and stuff like that, 6/4 cutoffs sitting on that rack. So to come, I've got quotes coming for this racking. It's really expensive, so we'll see how this all turns out. Time to get into some air conditioning. Thanks. Okay, slightly out of sequence, I'm recording this. I did get cantilever racking for the 10 by 10 shed, and I'd be showing you that right now, but then it wouldn't make sense because I'm about to load all of the wood that I had loaded into the garage into the shed. So you're gonna see that part of it. I'm gonna put some pictures in here also over me talking of the racking that we got, and probably right after we put it up. And then find out along the way that I think I had some more wood than I actually thought I did in some of the different species. And one really cool part of it was that the white oak is actually all rift sawn white oak, which I thought it was rift sawn, but then I got confirmation as I had to do some chopping off of the stuff to make sure it all fit inside of the shed, which you'll see in the video upcoming. Just so there's not a lot of dead air here, this is just sorting and cutting. The max width I could fit inside of the shed is like 9 feet 1 inch. So I basically cut everything to 113 inches, 112 inches, whatever it was. I used a story stick kind of thing to make it work. And as I cut it, then I would put it on that cool little rockler rack that is not meant to hold anywhere such the kind of, I guess, weight I was putting on it. But it worked. And then I would take it around, come back, cut more of it, take it back around. There was definitely some times where I was taking some breaks along the way. The total time to go through all of this lumber, which I only show the white oak because that's basically after the DJI died, took about 4 hours or so to get accomplished. And so you'll see now, I'm going to show you the final picture of where it was all done. What you missed off camera there is that you have to basically walk around the outside of the back of my house with that cool little rockler panel carrier that I have with all of the wood around to the backside, and then load it into the shed. I chose to do the white oak first because it was in front of everything, and I put the white oak at the top of the cantilever rack, which maybe that was smarter because I ran out of energy as the day went on, and putting it up, the heavy stuff at the top wasn't as fun as it probably could have been. But in general, it was just a lot to do in a 100+ degree day. So I'm going to show you the end of it because unfortunately I lost my DJI about halfway through the recording of it. But I did finish it. I do have all of the wood out of the garage and all of it into the shed. You'll see it here in a second. Okay, you can probably hear behind me, but I ended up getting a fan for in here that's controlled via thermostat. Comes on at about 80 degrees. And it does a really good job of keeping it nice and cool in here. But you will see that this rack is now completely full with the white oak on the top, and I've got it stickered. And then as you move down, I've got like a mixture of white oak, some riffsawn white oak. There's actually some other stuff behind this, and then some walnut in front of it. And then down here, I've got the walnut on top, and then a bunch of the mahogany down here below. It's going to be a challenge to manage through this middle section of the walnut and getting to the mahogany, etc. But I think I'll probably burn through the walnut before I get to the mahogany stuff. But anyways, this, as you can tell, is completely loaded. I have a little bit of space here on this second rack to put some more wood. But I believe what I kind of came up with is that I have about 450 board feet of that 5/4 riffsawn white oak. I've got about 100 board feet of 6/4 white oak, and about 100 board feet of 4/4 white oak riffsawn also. And then I've got a little bit of non-riffsawn white oak that they had in there at the same time. Sometimes when you get stuff like that delivered, it just comes that way, but I separated it out so it's not part of it. I think I had a lot more walnut than I thought I did, and I think less of it was off-cut than I thought it was. There are some pieces in here that are, you know, like 2 inches or so, but they're pretty straight, and I think I can easily get face frames, etc. out of them. And there were way more wider boards than I thought there were. I think I've probably got somewhere over 200 board feet of really good usable walnut. Just some of it are definitely not narrower, right, per se. I've got about 500 board feet of the mahogany in 4/4, and most of that stuff is pretty wide and really quality. I think I've probably got about 150 board feet of that, which is not the most flat, a little bit of twist in it. But again, if I'm cutting them into smaller pieces, they should still be usable. If I had a few pieces, which I did, which were terrible, I cut them up and threw them out. And then I've got more than I thought of the 5/4 and 6/4 mahogany than I thought. I got probably 150 board feet of that, give or take, down there below. And then on top of some mahogany, there was 8/4 that I had already. I believe this is real Honduran mahogany. I know that the 8/4 they have before is Honduran mahogany, but this other stuff is real. It's not sapele. I have sapele back here and other stuff. You can see back here for some of the 12 foots that I had gotten, I made a decision to cut those off for at least being 2 feet long. And then I've got those back there in the back. And then what you saw before, I've got all of that maple still back here. And then down below is where I've got sheet goods and stuff. So pretty functional for me in this little room. But again, I'm not getting on here to basically say I got this great deal, but I did. Thanks again, Sean. But what I am getting on is that, like, the cool part about, like, and the drawback of how I had to do my shop is that I do have a space for the wood. The drawback is it's, you know, 100 feet away from my shop. So in Southern California, usually the weather isn't an issue, so not a problem per se. But it definitely is maybe less than optimal. Some people would have bigger shops and get to keep their wood inside the shop. Definitely nicer. If I had a bigger open door where I could have something where I could pull a lift in and pull some of this stuff out and sort through it, that'd be a lot easier when I'm trying to get some wood together for a project. It's going to be a little bit of a chore to get this to work. I will tell you that the racking definitely has the capacity to handle all this weight and probably more. It looks almost like the same kind of stuff that you'd get at Home Depot per se. But anyways, thank you for watching this. I really appreciate it. The time that between the last video and this video really came down to getting sidetracked during my time off because of this purchase of all this wood. So anyways, just keep watching for more content. Heading off to IWF next week, and that should be fun with some good stuff. I'm going to bring a camera and take some video, and hopefully I can post some of that also. Thanks for watching.